Welcome back to One on One with Mista Yu. I'm in the house. Glad to be here. Good buddy of mine, Howard Gripp, is in the house. We're going to have an awesome chat. Howard, how are you, man?
I'm good. How you doing?
Fantastic. Glad to have you on, man. Before we get started with the show and with our conversation, a lot of crazy winter weather going on throughout the country. How you guys doing up where you are?
Yeah, it's cold, but we're good. No fires. So
okay, yeah, well, absolutely. Be
That's
praying
crazy.
for Los Angeles because they're going through a lot right now. I got some family out there. I don't even know how they're even doing. So I'm just like, kind of just watching the news. Unfortunately, it's my access right now. But So you're from the Midwest?
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep. About 20 degrees.
20 degrees. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your background, Howard.
I've been a musician most all my life. I'm also an IT director. That's what I do for my day job.
Okay.
I played drums since I was about 6. My mom was into music. My brother was a musician. Actually, he's still a musician. So I kind of followed in their footsteps and played rock and roll for most of my career and transitioned to Christian rock about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Quick story.
Yeah, but I know that's really good. Probably want to get into a little bit of that as well. But also, briefly, tell me what was the impetus for why you made the switch? Some people feel like, as a musician, you got to be creative and do different things, be diverse. Why did you decide, you know what? My emphasis was rock music. I'm moving into the gospel Christian worship realm right now. What kind of caused that switch, if you don't mind sharing it?
Yeah, it was a life change for me. I mean, I had been playing rock music forever. 40 some years I've been playing that, right? So 2 years ago, I just felt God telling me to do something different with my music and do it for him, to glorify him. And I was like, wow, well, I'm pretty old to be changing gears here now, but I guess if you're going to tell me to do it, I suppose I should probably do it. So it took me about a year to listen, but
wow, okay.
Yeah, about a year and a half ago, I recorded my first. About a year ago, I recorded my first Christian rock song, and that's what I'm fully doing now. I'm still doing my IT job, but musically, I'm just all Christian rock right now. So yeah, it was more of a life change calling, I guess.
I love this. Hope to hear more about that in the course of this episode. We got some people listening to us. West Coast Win, good friend of mine. She supports all of our work on our brand of podcast episodes, and she's here to say hi to you.
Hey.
So, Gwen, thanks for joining us. If you have any questions for Howard or myself in the context of what we're talking about, jump in, drop your questions everywhere you see this podcast being simulcast. So love to hear from you guys. Drop your questions and your comments in. We're glad to respond to those once they come through. All right, so beside the winter weather, man, the Green Bay Packers and such, tell us something about the Wisconsin area that we might not know. Something maybe even dispel a myth about Wisconsin in that area.
Well, it's really pretty up here.
Or a fun fact. Anything's good.
It's really pretty up here. Lots of trees, lots of lakes, lots of cabins. I like getting up and getting away. Actually, in April, I'm going up to a cabin for about 4 or 5 days. Sound like by myself, and I just go up there and I write. Quiet on the lake. It's really sweet, really relaxing, and so yeah, I think just the scenery and the relaxation that you can get up here. So,
is that considered a vacation getaway at all, or is that just only the locals know about it? Is that how it works?
It's a little getaway. It's a little hideaway. I found some people that have some cabins on the lake up there, and I get a pretty good deal from them. So they know I write there. So
sweet. I might have to hit you up offline. It sounds really good to me. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So is there a real obsession with cheese up there, or is it just like a stereotype? Is it really all about cheese?
That's real. That's real.
It's real.
That's real. Yeah.
Wow. So, are you a cheese snob as well?
No, I'm a pretty basic guy, so I don't really get into all that weird cheese that they like up here. But I'm actually from Iowa, so I'm an implant.
That's fair. What kind of weird cheese? What are we talking about? Like what?
Well, weird cheese to me is anything that's not Kobe or Kobe Jack or sharp cheddar. Cheddar. You know, that pepper jack and all that other weird stuff where you got to cut the mold off. No, I'm not into that.
Pepper jack is weird. How about Wisconsin white cheddar? That's my favorite. How about that?
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I can go with that.
I use that on a lot of stuff. All right, so as a musician, I know this from experience. I've seen this. They often have to do side work to get by. What kind of work are you doing outside of your music ventures? What are you doing?
I've been in IT for my whole working career. I'm actually an IT director for a potato farm. So we go chipping potatoes for Frito-Lay. So that's what I do to help support my musical dream, I guess. Great job. Family-owned business. It's awesome.
Okay. I didn't even realize that about Frito-Lay. So Frito-Lay is a family-owned business?
No, the farm I work for, the family. We grow the potatoes for Frito-Lay.
That makes sense. Totally good. Okay, yeah. That makes sense. So what did you see in the corporate world that made you want to transition into kind of venturing out? Because I know from my experience, people who have a cushy job, so to speak, I was in the corporate world, so I kind of can relate. They don't want to move out of that because, like, you know what? This is a good boat. I don't want to rock it. You know?
Yeah.
What do you see in the corporate world that made you want to perhaps start thinking outside of that box? Anything in particular?
Yeah, well, when I worked in the corporate, so I've been at this company for 10 years. My first job I worked at for 10 years, that was also a family-owned business. And then I worked in the corporate world for 17 plus years. Okay. It was just so political and, you know, so much red tape and so many people you'd have to go through just to get, you know, a pencil on your desk. I don't know. You know, and I just, you know, I think God came in and said, you know, we're going to get rid of that position. We're going to let you move on to something else. So when I looked for another job, I was looking for a family-owned business again because, you know, I wasn't doing a whole lot of music at that time. I was playing here and there, but not a whole lot. But I wanted to find a good, solid family-owned business, and somehow I ended up at this farm up in the middle of nowhere. That's turned out to be, I mean, I truly believe God sent me here. I mean, it's a Christian, you know, they all have faith and very family oriented. Yeah, you still have some loops to jump through, but they're very small, and it's a big company. You know, we're about 150 people. I mean, for a farm, that's pretty big. Yeah, and then but it's like, you know, I go to the president's house. We hang out. We hang out with the owners. Oh yeah. President of the company,
right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Got it. You know, go to the owner's house and hang out with them. So yeah, it's very cool. They've been really supportive of the journey I'm on right now. So super cool.
No, that's awesome. As you know, you watch some of my episodes from the past and you see my interviewing style. Every once in a while, I ask a few tough questions.
Yeah.
I think I asked permission about this one before we scheduled the episode, but Frito-Lay is a very well-known name. I think everybody knows it. I know I invested probably millions into their business because I was a huge chip person. As a matter of fact, I still am. I might be addicted, not really sure.
Yep.
Trying to figure my part out. But in a world where people are reading labels so much more now, what are you seeing through your company, through the farm the family-owned business you're working with, that makes it more conscious about health and nutrition? You know, because you supply the potatoes, but you have a hands-on approach to what happens after the potatoes are supplied. Right. So is the company conscious about that kind of stuff, about health and nutrition? Or are they concerned about their, you know, how it's used? Is that something you heard about?
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very conscious about that. So we're one of the leading suppliers to Frito-Lay for their chips. And our company, our president, owners, they work directly with the leaders of PepsiCo. I mean, they work like this all the time to make sure that we're getting good quality potatoes to them, and they're getting good quality chips out, and, you know, and how we, you know, spare our fields and how we use our water. I mean, it's all conscious about health for sure.
Okay. It's cool to hear people still concerned about that. I mean, most folks I talk to, they just like what they like. Reading labels is not on their menu at all. So it's like, you know, it's good to hear the company is concerned about that. How much room do they have to kind of not dictate, but have a say in the process. Do you guys see that as a part of the process at all? Or is it something like, you know what, you supply the potatoes, Frito-Lay does what they want to do with it? How'd that work?
I think the last couple of years have really changed that direction a little bit because our presidents really got involved with PepsiCo themselves and the leaders of PepsiCo, and they're working really close together to make a great product that's healthy and, follows all the standards that we need to follow. So they work really close together.
Very good. I like that. All right, cool question. Tell me how you met Michelle. The story is so cool. I said, we talked about it offline in our pre-production meeting, but I said, you know what? I think our listeners would love to hear this story. So please, if you don't mind sharing how you met Michelle. This is an awesome story.
All right. Well, we met online. We met in an online dating site. I think it was.
How old were you when that happened, Howard?
How many years ago? I got to do my math right because she's watching.
That's okay. Take your time. That's important to the story.
I don't know, 56.
Wow.
That sounds 50, 57, something like that.
That's important.
Somewhere in there.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's important to the story because two old people on, I don't know. She's younger than I am, so. But no, part of my story takes me through a divorce, and I was looking for somebody else to be within my life, and I was very specific about wanting to find somebody that was strong in their faith, because I wanted somebody to help me get back into my faith and really refine my faith. So I was on this Christian site. I think I signed up for a month or something. I don't know. And my time was almost up, and she had signed up for like a month, and her time was almost up. She found my profile somehow, and she messaged me, and next thing you know, we're talking, and then we met at a Mexican restaurant on Cinco de Mayo, and I don't know. And here we are, married for 5 years now.
Oh, congratulations, man. That is an incredible story, man. I got some friends that are on the dating scene, and it's a struggle. I'm not sure that these are Christian dating apps. I honestly have no idea, but they're in the struggle. So for you to find love theoretically on these sites, it's like, wow, that should give confidence to everybody who's out here dating and listening to this episode. It's like he did it in his mid-50s. So there's hope for you.
There's hope for you.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So you're very musically talented. We talked about that a little bit. You being a multi-instrumentalist. Have you, in your opinion, located a purpose for this talent? I know a lot of people who, as a matter of fact, we talked a little bit about my past in the music industry, and I've seen people who are super uber talented, but they never really had a sense of why they had the ability and the gift and what to do with it. Yeah. They just made music and tried to get paid. Have you located a purpose, in your opinion, for all the gifts that you have, that you've been discovering that you have?
I think I have now. I mean, I was one of those people that, I played to get paid. I played to get paid. Paid the bills, and that was really the only reason I played, because all the stuff I was playing was somebody else's. I had some original stuff back in the day, but I never really played in a lot of. I played in a lot of bands back then, trying to promote it. But when that stopped, years ago, all the duos and the other bands I've been in since then, it's just been music. We're just playing music to get paid. And you go and you play these bars, and everybody's hammered. Nobody cares that you're there, and they're requesting songs. I'm a guy, right? I don't sing way up here. They're asking for Taylor Swift and Beyonce, and it's just crazy.
That's funny.
It's just crazy. So when I made this change to Christian music, like I said, I really felt God urging me to write music to glorify Him. So I have found a purpose with this music. I mean, He gave me all these gifts, right? I'm not great at. I can play a lot of things. I'm not great at anything, right? I can sing. I can play guitar, drums, bass, a little bit of keys, enough to write music. I can good enough. I can go out and I can play live. But God gave me the talents to go out and spread His word, and that's what my mission is now with my music. So,
if you're in my neck of the woods, I got a job assignment for you. If you ever
all right,
this way,
I'm in. Tell me when.
I got a spot for you. Immediate filling.
All right, I'm in. Let me know when I got to be there.
It's a permanent gig, though.
Oh,
yeah. But in general, what do you believe the local church can do better in its approach to music and worship? I ask this question to myself because it's not a conversation that people want to have all the time, but it feels as though there's opportunity there that is to some degree missed. What do you feel like, in your personal opinion, what could the local church do better in regards to fostering the kind of worship and music that provides a benefit for people who are listening to it? What do you think about that, man?
Well, I haven't gone to a lot of churches since the contemporary music has come out, right? I mean, my wife and I became a member of the church right now. We've been there 3.5 years. I've gone to a couple other churches trying to find musicians, and I've gone to a couple of churches in Nashville. I was down there, which way different, way different. I think our church does a really good job of matching the music with the sermon, and relating the music to the people so it all kind of gels right together. Some other churches I've gone to, seems like a concert. It didn't feel like worship to me. It felt like I was at a concert. So it didn't really give me this. It didn't give me a church feel. It gave me a concert feel. So when the pastor came out and preached, it was a big production, and it was like, this to me isn't what church is about. I like, our worship team instructed not to do a lot of moving and not to really. It's kind of different. It's kind of hard sometimes, but
not a lot of moving. Okay,
we're not supposed to do a lot of. I think the whole point is, we're there to worship God. Don't look at me. Worship God, right? And that's kind of how we don't just stand there like statues, but don't get me wrong.
Thank goodness, because that was like what I was envisioning. I'm like, that's not good.
Yeah, no, we're not. We're not flying around the stage and stuff like that. But I just think the best thing is to make sure that the worship pastor is working with the pastor leadership, and they make sure that the message matches the music matches the message. I guess that would be my suggestion.
Okay, but that sounds good. I mean, I've seen that done well in a lot of cases. Our ministry does that fairly well also. So it's good to know it's not an anomaly. It's kind of a trend.
Yeah.
It's happening. I shared a personal testimony with you during our pre-production meeting, and anytime somebody has talents like you do, obviously they're going to be in high demand. You just named 5 or 6 things that you do very well, so that will put you in high demand for sure in almost any arena. But how are you avoiding the danger of saying yes to everybody? We talked about that because it's a challenge when you have multiple gifts of any sort. I don't care if it's admin, music, whatever it is.
Yeah.
In high demand, saying yes, it seems very, very hard to break the habit, especially in religious and ministry circles. It feels like you almost feel like you're obligated, like you have to do it or else.
Yeah.
How do you avoid the danger of saying yes to everybody? Well,
like I told you in the pre-production, I pretty much say yes to everybody.
Yeah, I know. I'll talk about
it. I have backed off a few things. My wife reminds me that, hey, you're getting a little stressed out. I don't see you much. You're working all the time. You need to calm down and back off some things, and you need to start saying no. So
thank you, Michelle. Thank God for Michelle.
I have listened to her. I do listen to my wife.
That was gonna be my next comment. I'm glad you listened to it. That's really good.
It's tough to do because you're right. In our ministry, if someone's asking us for something, we feel in our ministry we should do it. And you don't want to miss an opportunity, and you don't want to not help someone. So it's tough to balance that, but that's what my wife is doing for me.
Yeah. There's a gentleman by the name of Stephen Covey. I've been reading his work for many, many years now. And he helps us to differentiate between what's a real emergency, what's urgent, what's not important, what is important. And that book revolutionized my thinking.
Yeah.
Why do you think you say yes to everybody? At the core, why do you think that happens? We talked about that a little bit too in our pre-production, but I want to kind of flesh it out more.
I mean, I like to help people. I just like, somebody needs something, I want to help them. If they ask me to do something, if it's in my power, I want to help them. I also don't want to miss an opportunity. Like I said, you never know what that's going to be. And, I guess that's why I do it.
Okay. All right. I mean, I've seen that, especially in religious circles. And this is something that, a lot of people who don't subscribe to the faith like we do, this is one of the reasons why they don't. It's because they feel as though when you say yes to ministry or these religious circles or these opportunities for in organization, that you're almost like, you can't say no. You have to say yes. You have to be bound to it forever. And your personal life almost doesn't even matter. I mean, honestly, out of my own testimony, my family life would have been a lot better in the early years of my marriage. We've been married 29 years now. It'd have been better had I said yes less in a lot of those areas. I mean, the first 10 years was rough because I couldn't say no to anybody. Yep. And it caused tension in my household with my wife and my kids. And we didn't have the kind of cohesion we should have had because I was always, like you said, going and doing things and not being home much and constantly saying yes to everything that comes my way. But you can't put that all on yourself. You can't make all that your responsibility. Right. You're just one person in a sea of many who are trying to do the same thing. Somebody else will be able to do it. Yeah. And if not, that person who asked me to step up and say, you know what? I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to trust God. I'm gonna learn how to do this so we can get this done. Not put it all on one person.
Yeah.
You get burnt out. How's it get done then? They find somebody else.
Exactly. Yeah.
and you know they will. If you say no, they're gonna find somebody else, and you'd be surprised how fast that happens.
Yeah, it's okay to say no. I've learned that it's okay to say no.
They do a great job at it. They say no for everything. They do a great job at it. How'd they learn that? Just something to think about.
That's funny.
But you mentioned completing an EP release. I'm really excited to hear about this one. So congrats on that, by the way. Tell us more about the EP release. Love to hear more about that.
That was my first Christian EP. Came out in November. 6 songs on it, and they're doing really well. I cut a video off of it, and the video's doing super well. And the EP is called Rescued, Redeemed, Forgiven, and it's really 6 songs of testimony. Really, one of them is called "He Rescued Me." It's the acoustic version of that, and that is my testimony from when I got saved. And the other songs really revolve around faith and surrendering and just giving your life over to God and rescuing you. So,
I love this. I want to talk about that a little later on in our episode before we close out. But as a songwriter, here's my question for you. How do you avoid the temptation to have a song that sounds like somebody who's already doing something out there in the industry? With your 6 songs that you wrote, this is something I was challenged with myself. I did a 6-song EP probably about 18 years ago. But how do you avoid, the temptation of having songs that almost sound like or have certain style comparisons to what's already going on out there right now? How do you avoid that? I know it's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy, but it's kind of interesting because, some of the stuff I fill out, hey, who do you sound like? Who do you sound? I don't know who I sound like, so people will come up. I'll give you some weird ones. You sound like Jeremy Camp. You sound like Matthew West. You sound like Neil Diamond. Huh? You sound like Alan Jackson. Oh, okay, so that makes me not sound like anybody.
Yes, apparently not. He already hit like 3 genres already.
I know. I'm playing at this place the other day, and you sound just like Neil Diamond. And I went, what? No, I don't sound like Neil Diamond. Well, okay.
That's the song I want to hear. I'm like, Neil Diamond.
Yeah, I don't even remember what I was playing. I probably should quit playing. No, I'm good. But I've got the rock roots in me. I don't write your standard CCM contemporary music. I got the rock roots in me, and they're buried in my bones, and I'm not going to let them go. So I think I'm writing music that some people that may not ever listen to Christian music because, maybe that's too repetitive, or that's what they, or this is too hard, it's too heavy. I think I'm in the middle of there, and I think there's a group of people I can reach with that style of the music. So I don't try to sound like anybody. I try to sound like me. Apparently I sound like a whole bunch of different people. So
no, that's true. That's good though, because honestly, there's some aspects of Christian music that they are repetitive. They almost repeat each other. They almost mimic each other. I don't know if it's purposeful or not.
Yeah.
A lot of people sound like each other. And like, wow, to be unique intentionally, that's an outstanding trait, man. I can't wait to hear these songs, man. So I'm excited about this. Being on a ministry team is very, very challenging. People who are listening that are on some kind of ministry team, where they know somebody who is, and their families, I think some of these answers that Howard's going to give might help enlighten you on what your friends and family go through. How are you adapting to handling the pressures of ministry? How are you handling that? Because people think it's easy to just do that, but it really is. It's really it's a lot.
Yeah, it's so new. It's still pretty new to me, but and by saying yes so many times, I've buried myself. I put a lot of pressure on myself. But there are struggles. I mean, when you're in a ministry and you're talking about faith and you're trying to spread the word of God, not everybody believes in God. Some people don't like you at all because you do. I haven't faced a lot of that. I've faced some of that online. It's really difficult because I don't want to say I was there once, but I was down once. I was down in the darkest place a person could be. And it's hard to come out of that, and it's hard for some people to look at people like what we do, our ministries, and how we're trying to help people, and they've had a rough life and they just don't get it. It's tough. That's probably one of the biggest challenges I face, is being able to deal with that. I've got hammered pretty good online. In person, not too bad, but online, I've got hammered pretty good online. And it's just a matter of being able to juggle everything that you want to do. I still have goals, that I want to reach with my music, and I want to make sure that it always stays for God, right? It doesn't start becoming me. It's got to stay God, because when it starts becoming about me, then I'm going to go down a bad road, and I'm not going to help anybody. So it's a balancing act for sure.
Oh, absolutely. That makes total sense. For all you guys that are listening to us and watching us, whether this episode is being simulcast to you, if you have any kind of questions about online dating, any questions about music and the appeal of music, regardless of genre, or just questions about faith, drop those in the comments section. We should be able to see them here, and we'll jump in those and we'll answer those as soon as they come through. So don't be shy. Asking questions you have of Howard or myself, we're happy to answer those. Got a comment from West Coast. Online bullies can hide and be anonymous. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm sorry that he had to go through that stuff. That's something that I know West Coast Win knows very well. I've seen it a lot of the times. I mean, I have a massive Twitter account, and I've seen that more times than I can count on a daily basis, multiple times a day. It's real easy to say those kind of things behind a keyboard.
Yeah,
but
that's right.
What you're doing is worthwhile, is valuable. Keep that going for sure. Yep. You cited in our pre-production meeting about a lack of collaboration where you live.
Yep.
Because of what you're trying to accomplish on this musical journey, collaboration is a big deal. People don't realize that so much. They think that they can kind of do it on their own, and they kind of stay in their own heads about their gift and their direction with stuff. But collaboration is huge. Sometimes things don't even grow without collaboration. Has there ever been a discussion between you and Michelle about relocating from that area?
Yeah, we have talked about it. We are looking at it. I'm not sure when that's going to happen. I mean, I still have a 16-year-old daughter that's in school, so she's got to graduate. She's a good student, so I don't have to worry about that. But yeah, we've talked about moving closer to Nashville. I also have another daughter down in Augusta, Georgia, so that would get us closer to her too. So yeah, we've talked about that.
Oh, sweet, that's sweet. So would your daughter be moving to Nashville too, you think, or should be going to college someplace, you think?
I don't know what she's going to do. She'll probably tag along.
tag along.
I think she likes us okay.
All right. You've been talking a lot about the online situations you've had, the bullying you've been experiencing. What would you say overall on your whole musical journey? What's the biggest challenge you've experienced?
The biggest challenge I've experienced personally up here where I'm at is finding places to play. Finding Christian places. I mean, if I want to play bar, I could book 10 shows next week if I wanted to, but that's not what I want to do, right? So to find a Christian venue to play at, you're going to go, oh man, aren't there churches all over the place? Yeah, there are churches all over the place, but I've reached out to 10 or 15, and unless they have some kind of an event going on, you know, they're not really looking for music, which sounds weird, but it's true. My church let me have an EP release concert back in November, and I don't think they've had a concert in there for 15 years. So it was a big deal. We had a couple hundred people in there. It was great, and you know, I'm hoping that expands a little bit up here. But I'm driving 2, 3, 4, 5 hours just to play gigs for an hour, just so I can play.
Wow,
so that's my struggle.
That's crazy. I mean, anybody that's listening that's ever tried to accomplish something that started off really, really tough, and you experience conflict and challenge, it's always that feeling that, you know what, I'm gonna just give up on this. Maybe it's not right for me to do this. Maybe it's not the right time. I don't keep writing a book, trying to write songs or write an album like Howard's done, whatever it is. Tell me this, because you talked about how you were having such a hard time trying to find places to play that you felt comfortable with. The lure to make money is probably more huge now more than ever, because you recognize that, you know what, this is part of what's going to bring finances into my household. How are you guarding against that when you're being offered these gigs? How are you guarding against the lure for chasing the dollar? Because that's just something that anybody is susceptible to. How are you avoiding that? How are you dealing with that challenge?
Yeah, you know, when I played my acoustic duo, we made some pretty good money. When we played together for a long time, and we made some good money. But this is different. While I agree that, you know, there's got to be money coming in at some point. Apparently not yet, but at some point, you know, I'm okay with breaking even, or, you know, being able to make a couple of bucks right now, because in this pool, I'm new, right? I mean, I paid my dues in the rock world. That's all different. You know, I'm new in this genre, and I'm not young, so I do have my foot down on the pedal pretty hard, but you know, I'm willing to pay my dues just like anyone else would have to going through this. But and this is not about money until my money runs out. Then it becomes about money. But you know what I mean. Yeah, we're not doing this to become rich. You know, we're doing this to spread the word of God. I'm doing it to help people. I want to help people. I want to help people that are hurting. I want to help people that just feel like they have no hope. You know, I want to give them hope. You know, because I've been there. I've been through it. I've been down the dark road. You know, the money will come whenever God thinks the money should come. Hopefully sooner rather than later.
That's a wonderful attitude, man. I rarely ever hear that kind of humility when it comes to this level of journey. So really commendable, man. You mentioned Michelle multiple times in our pre-production meeting. What's her role in the musical journey?
She is my biggest supporter, and she goes on those 4-hour journeys to those gigs with me, and I'm going to Nashville and we can have another EP. She's going with me, and she sits in the studio with me. I mean, she's right there the whole time. You know, she has a passion too for fighting human trafficking. We've kind of woven that together a little bit with some music and her speaking. Like when I did my concert, she came up and spoke for about 15-20 minutes on human trafficking, and we raised $1,500 or something like that during my concert for this. Yeah, so yeah,
that's awesome, man. So that would be my next question. So how have you and Michelle kind of figured out how to support each other's ministries and still maintain focus on the individual vision that you both have? How you guys working out? Was that hard? Was that easy? How'd that work out?
Her mission's a little tougher because, you know, I play music, so I just have to find some place to play music. Sure. You know, there's not a whole lot of of help in the human trafficking area in the states around here. She's found some. I think she's actually starting to build something. So
okay.
hers is a little different because she's kind of helping build something from scratch. Where I'm going out and I'm finding places to play. So any opportunities that I get where I can play and we can bring her up to talk, that's a bonus.
I love that. I want to ask it at the end of our show that you can share some information on how to support her
Sure.
in that endeavor too. So along with your musical journey, I want to make sure we address both of those. Now, might be a tough question, but if you weren't doing music, what would you be doing?
Music? I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I'd be retired. I don't know. I don't know what I'd do.
Really?
I like sports, but I don't think the NBA is going to sign a 60-year-old dude to their basketball team. So
no, they will not.
Not even over in Europe, I don't think.
No, not even there.
I guess it would be something to do with sports.
You think so?
Guy. Yeah.
Why is that? Is it like you have a desire to be a sports analyst or something, or?
No, I just like watching sports. Maybe a commentator or something like that. I don't know.
Okay, you like watching sports, flip into a career. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, so you share some frustrations about how you felt your ministry was received. Kind of flesh that out for me, because a lot of times if we don't identify what we're dealing with, it's kind of hard to get some answers or some breakthroughs. So share some of those frustrations you were talking about and what you've been seeing lately that may have changed a little bit, or some understandings you got about the frustrations.
You mean music in general?
No, your ministry overall. Yeah.
Well, I didn't expect, if I contacted 15 churches, I didn't expect all 15 churches to not have anything. Some of them didn't even get back to me. And I don't know how to get around that, So I'm working closer with some of the places that I have further away to try to, kind of work my way back this way through connections they may have closer at churches may work their way back here, I just, the music industry itself is frustrating. I mean, Spotify is super frustrating, but you got to do it, right? You got to do it, because if you don't do it, no one will see your stuff. And I don't know, that part of the business part is pretty frustrating, and I'm pretty deep into it. So
what are you seeing on the Spotify side? Because I think I've been hearing this, but I want to kind of make sure it's the same thing I've been hearing. What are you seeing as a frustration with Spotify?
Well, I hope nobody from Spotify is watching this. Actually, I don't care.
Not that I'm aware of.
So it takes 1 million streams to make like $3,000. It's
$1 million.
Crazy. Yeah. Okay. So you're getting like 0.0003 cents a stream. So you're not going to make a living off of streaming music. It takes, I just read something the other day, it takes like 1 billion streams to become, or X number of billion streams to become gold or platinum on Billboard. I mean, I got 200,000 streams, and I never thought I'd have that in 1 million years, but it's like $450. I'm not gonna pay for my car that way, So, I got to get out and play, and you got to sell merchandise. I mean, that's really where it's all at. Playing, selling merchandise. If you want to make money, to make a living, to be able to support a family.
Yeah, the attempt to monetize is.
Oh my gosh,
it's a different animal. I'm seeing it in non-music areas. I'm like, wow. So they hear about Spotify. I didn't know that, but yeah, it gives me a whole lot more respect for you and what you're trying to accomplish, because that sounds like an incredible task. Yeah. Many times you talked about, pre-production, you talked about, the reception of your ministry in the area where you are, having to travel and stuff. What is it about what you're doing that won't allow you to create opportunities where you don't have to travel? People can come to you. You kind of can create your own opportunity to have your music.
I'll be working more on that. Well, I'm not going to do it today because it's 20 degrees outside, but once the spring rolls around, I think we'll have opportunities to go play in parks. I've got a couple other friends up here that said, yeah, let's just go sit down by the river. I got a battery operated PA. We'll just go down until they kick us out. So we're gonna do some things like that. I mean, if if you can't go to them, bring them to you. So that's kind of what I'm gonna try to do.
I mean, I don't know right now. Some of the names escape me, but I've seen several folks that have started festivals, and they started one time, and before you know it, it became a yearly thing. And they featured. In fact, I do have one buddy I know that who started the same way. He's a musician too, loves music with all his heart, just like you. That's what he did out here locally. Started a festival, and the festival's been going on every year for I think the past 10, 12 years.
That's awesome.
He was traveling, doing stuff too with bands. He created opportunity. Yep. So if he can do it, I know you can. So
yeah,
there's something to think about.
Yep.
But you talked a lot about when to help people, and I really respect that. What kind of testimonies have you seen because of your music? You shared a couple in our conversation. I wanted you to share those with our listeners. What kind of testimonies have you seen to come out of the ministry of your music?
Sure. So we played this coffee shop about an hour away. We did create that. We did a writers round there. We created that through our NSAI connection. We did a writers round for probably 5 months in a row up there at a coffee house, and I was the only Christian musician. I didn't know how the coffee shop was going to accept that, but oh no, come on in, that's all good. And I said, well, I usually share a little bit when I play, do whatever you want, it's all good. Okay.
All right, thanks.
So, everybody gets 3 songs, you do a little testimony between each song, and I have a song that I wrote for my son. He's battles addiction, and it's called When I Pray. And I gave a little background on that song, and then I played that. That was my last song that I played. And I mean, there's people in tears. It was pretty powerful. I had people come up and talking to me. There was probably 70 people in this little coffee shop. It was awesome. But I had people coming up talking to me about, hey, I just lost my daughter a year ago to addiction, and you helped me remember her, and that song touched me. It's super powerful. And then the first Christian gig I played was it's called the Gathering Place in Normal, Illinois. They do Christian music every Friday night. There might be 20, 30, 40 people there. It's just not a huge crowd, but it's getting bigger. But on my way to Nashville to record, I stopped there. I found this place on Facebook, and I never talked to these guys or anything, but they said Christian music. Well, that's maybe 15 minutes out of the way to Nashville. It's just, honey, can we stop there? And she said, yeah, we'll go over there and see if I can try out or something. I hadn't played anywhere yet, right? So we stop in this place, and a couple girls are playing on stage, and they take a break, and I talk to the guy that runs the stuff, and said, yeah, I'd like to come on and try out sometime. Or he goes, well, you do play on a worship team or anything? I said, yeah, I play on a worship team. Well, you got music out on the internet? I said, yeah, I got music out. He goes, all right, well, write your name down here and we'll talk. It was an intermission, so we'll talk when it's over. So I write my name down on this piece of paper, and I give it to him, and he goes, Howard Gripp. And I said, yeah. First I'm looking at him going, yeah. And then he goes, you got a song on Spotify called When I Pray. And I'm looking around going, I've never seen any of these people in my life. Never talked to any of them. He goes, I listen to that song every day. He says, I played it for 3 or 4 pastors in here and 4 or 5 people that are sitting in the audience right now. I played it for them all the time because I'm a recovering addict, 25 years. He said, so the song's really about a parent's perspective of a child going through addiction, right? And he goes, I never knew what my parents went through until I heard that song. So they went back up to play it, and he came over and talked to me about 2 songs into their set, and he goes, hey, I asked the girls if they'd quit early, would you play that song for me? I said, sure, I'll play that song for you. It's all good. So before I played the song, he went up and gave his testimony. It was so amazing, powerful, man. It was so powerful. I told him last time I went down there, I played there 3 or 4 times. And I said, no matter how big or small I ever get, I will always come back and play this place. Just unbelievable. It's the power of music, man.
Yeah. People underestimate it. It really is powerful, man.
Yeah.
You mentioned your 2 daughters a couple of times about this. Is my first time hearing about your son. Was he able to hear your music? The song you wrote for him?
He heard it, and there's a couple lines in there where I blame myself for what happened to him, and he said, it's not your fault. it's not your fault. It's my fault. I made these choices. It's not your fault, Dad. I don't want you to think it's your fault. So, yeah, he still struggles, but he's doing pretty good right now. So
He's doing
a lot of
good.
people praying for him.
That was my next question. I don't mind joining that group. What's his name again?
Austin.
Is he up there with you?
No, he's actually in California. He went out there to rehab, and yeah.
Not where the fires are, right?
No.
Okay.
South of that, so.
That's good. That's good to know, man. I'll be definitely thinking about Austin. Just a few more questions, and then we'll go ahead and close out for today. But you mentioned some artists that were kind of influences of your style of music, past and present. Who are some of those artists that kind of influenced your style and the kind of music that you enjoyed?
If I'm gonna go way back, Van Halen and Styx were my.
Okay.
I liked Earth, Wind, and Fire too, but that's kind of like the, that's kind of like separates it. That's probably why my music don't sound like anybody. So, I grew up on those two bands. I saw every iteration of Van Halen live except for the one with the Sharon guy in there. But,
Okay.
And then now it's like Jeremy Camp, Matthew West, Ben Fuller. Ben Fuller was really the one that kind of kicked me in the rear and got me going. So
Okay.
that's my influence.
All right. So you transitioned from what could have been a lucrative path, with just your business and your work, to something kind of more fulfilling for you personally with your music. A lot of folks don't always want to take that leap. They're afraid of not having a place to land if things don't go well. How would you encourage somebody who might be listening today that may be faced with the same kind of struggle? They have something that's steady and they can rely on, but inside of them they have something they want to do, like your music, something they want to accomplish, and they have to step out on faith. And it's like there's no easy way to do it. They got to just take the leap, as they call it, the leap of faith.
Yeah.
How would you encourage somebody who has the same kind of decision that you had to make with yours?
Well, all musicians have to have a second job, no matter what it is, except for the big ones. They don't need a second job. So I am blessed to be with a company that believes in what I'm doing, and they support me 100%. This Heartland Farms, by the way, I want to say that for.
I love it. Thank you.
But they support what I'm doing, and they believe in what I'm doing. And I told my boss at one point, hey, I'm trying this music thing. I said, but don't worry, I'm not going to get all worried about it. He goes, if you're not going to do it 100%, what are you doing it for? So, all right, I'm doing 100%. So, it's tough because you don't know what you're going to run into. Like I said, I'm 60 years old. Whoever would have thought in a million years that I'd be taking a shot at 60? I mean, that's insane. But the things that God has done in my life musically in the last year and a half, or more than I probably would have expected out of a career in the rock world, So I just let him open the doors, man. I run through them. My wife and I grab my wife's hand and away we go. And he shut some doors too, and we leave them closed and we walk away. You got to believe in what you're doing. Got to really believe in what you're doing, especially when doing something like this where it's not about the money. You're not going to make a lot of money unless something happens, unless somebody walks through the door and goes, you're going to be the next big thing just because I'm bored today. So you got to really believe in what you're doing, believe in the reason you're doing it.
Well, that makes total sense, man. And of course, just to encourage you, there's biblical precedent for older people starting new things. As a matter of fact, at 60, you're way younger. Most of the progenitors in the Bible that started great tasks at that age. So 80, 90 years old. So you're doing great. So keep up the great work, man. I'm proud to have met you and to heard some of your testimony about you and Michelle and your kids and stuff. This has been awesome, man. How can anybody who's listening to the show today locate some of your work or your new EP?
All my stuff's under Howard Gripp Music. That's all my handles everywhere. And my website's howardgripmusic.com. And I'm reading this one.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Amen. Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, sorry. We're reading. Everybody can see that, right?
Yeah, everybody can see it.
So yeah, it's
Excuse me.
been about 16, 17 years of my son too, and he's been good for been sober, I think, for about 3, 4 months now. So, it's just one step at a time. But yeah. So I'm Howard Gripp Music everywhere. Twitter is H Gripp Music because Howard Gripp Music was too long. But other than that,
Yeah, I gotta find you on Twitter.
and I'm on
H
Spotify.
Grip Music.
Yeah.
You said H Grip Music. Okay, I'll find you on Twitter today.
All right.
And just just a quick note about West Coast Win. She's been a big supporter of every single show that we have out here, and we got 4 different shows, and she supports every single one of them. I don't know how she finds the time to do that, but I'm so grateful for her. And honestly, this story just reminds me of how powerful this podcast brand opportunity is, because I never would have known that had we not had this episode today with you, Howard, and West Coast shared that, because we've talked multiple times and this has never come up. So I learned more about her just because of you, man. So I just want to say thank you to West Coast for being transparent and sharing that story. And thank you, Howard, for coming on and sharing yours that impacted West Coast and many others listening, obviously, in an incredible way. So thank you for doing that. And what I also want to ask is that at the end of our show, when we're done and we sign off, if you, Howard, don't mind, go into our YouTube channel where the episode is in the comments section and drop all the links that you have.
Sure.
People can find you on Spotify, find your music on Twitter if you have it there, or any links to Heartland Farm, anywhere we can support you. We definitely want to be able to do that stuff. So please share stuff there. I know that Michelle has some causes regarding human trafficking. It's important to her. If you have access to that information, whether it be right away or in a day or so, drop it in that same place so people who are listening to the show can go back and hear it, because I'm going to promote this episode consistently for the next 7 days for sure. So I want them to be able to find that information, support Michelle's mission and yours as well, man. So
great.
Yeah, beside that, man, anything else you want to share with the people, man, while we're still here, man?
My only thing I ever say at the end is you're never too old and you're never too young to do anything. And I mean anything.
You're living proof of that, man. It's been an honor to meet you. Hope it's not the last time we talk. I hope not. Can't wait to talk to you and Michelle specifically as well, because I'd love to hear more of your story, man. But this has been awesome. But wherever you guys are and how you're listening to One-on-One with Mr. Yu and Howard Gripp, thank you for making us part of your week. Hope you enjoy your time wherever you are, and please support Howard in his efforts and Michelle's mission. Thank you for all that you do. And Howard, fantastic meeting you again. We're out of here, man. Have a great day, man.
Thanks.